It's amazing when you get together with 650, 700 athletes, the talent that is actually in that besides their athletic ability. They're singing and they're dancing. There's some comedy last night, which was fantastic. And then obviously the chance to just do some well-deserved awards of athletes that have done some remarkable things in their own sports and just as leaders within our department and within their teams. I'm really proud of them. We were the first ones to walk across the stage last night, and the kids were really excited about that. And they put in a lot of effort this entire year, not just this spring, into representing Indiana and getting out. We call them Hoosier Pride events, but getting out and supporting all the other teams that are in season and making sure that they feel that support, because I know we feel that support when we're in season. We look around in University Gym, we see coaches and athletes everywhere from IU. So that's always really important to us. Plus, doing things with the Boys and Girls Club, Girls Inc., the Animal Shelter, Meadowood Retirement Community, clinics we've done, all those type of things. The kids spend hours every week, not once a month or some things like that. They've really invested a lot of time and energy into helping give back to our community and not just within IU. So that makes me very proud of the type of people we have in our program and the type of commitment that they've made to community service overall. I think what we've seen over the spring is a changing of a culture, and it's not like our culture was bad, and I want people to understand that, but you're always tweaking a culture and raising it to a level that you feel can be successful in the Big Ten, and at any level, to matter of fact. So I think that changing of the culture and seeing people step up into leadership roles and understanding the big picture and really having a feeling that, and I think every program goes through this, where it's not coaches versus players like with expectations, it's a mutual expectation. And I feel like at the end of the spring, the one thing I can say is that there's so many people right now in our program on board and 100% bought into where we want to go. Now, has that always correlated this spring on the court? No, it hasn't. We played horrible at Purdue this past weekend, and we're okay to say that, because you have to own that when you play really bad in a day. But one day doesn't make our spring season and all the work we put into that spring season. So we need to use that. You either use that kind of day where you don't play well as you just forget about it or whatever, or use it as motivation as the last day of spring. What are you going to do about that in the summer so that doesn't come back to haunt us in the fall? So, the spring is great because it doesn't count for anything. You can try things, you can do things, you're tweaking things. So we're still 0-0 after spring, but the things that we've gained, I think, have been very measurable, and I think our players could sit down and talk about it for hours, just how they feel differently now after 16 weeks or how many ever weeks we've been together this spring, and that's the main thing I wanted to get to. Now when we bring in the new freshmen, I think they'll have that culture change, and they'll come into an environment where there's great accountability, great expectations, great work ethic, great kids in general, just community service. You look at all those type of things off the court that they've done. So overall, the big picture of spring is very, very good. You can't just look at one match or anything like that and have that view of kind of where we've come and where we're going. It took a while to put together the schedule. I thought it was really important that we really understand as best we can, and I don't think there's any exact science to scheduling. Everybody wants to find that exact science because it's a little bit crazy when the NCAA committee chooses teams at the end of the year, and you want to make sure you put your team in the best position possible and hopefully get those wins, but also those RPIs help you when you look at trying to be one of those 64 teams. So I think we put together a very strong schedule, a very challenging schedule for an upper class kind of team, but also matches that I think are winnable matches, and I think you kind of have to have a balance of that. You can't play too tough of a schedule where it's challenging, but you don't feel like you have a great opportunity to win a ton of matches, but you also have to get the RPI high enough that you feel good going into the Big Ten season, understanding that your RPI is going to go up once you get into conference because it's so strong. So 3 away tournaments, 1 home tournament, getting back to a hometown of one of our seniors that I thought was extremely important, and so kind of filling a lot of different needs in all those away tournaments for the non-conference play, which I think is very important. Yeah, summer's busy. You think, oh, it's summer and you get time off and all that kind of stuff, but actually most of our kids will have May off. They go home and relax or whatever, but to my surprise, 3/4 of the team is staying in May to start classes and to continue training, to keep working on rehab. Like Jasmine, getting through her ACL is going to continue to do that. Megan's still working on rehab. So most of them are going to stay in May, which I'm really excited about. Obviously, we can't work with them. Our strength coach can. They can get in the gym anytime they want and do open gym and just get in and work, individually in small groups and design practices for themselves, which is really good because I think they're at a point where they can do that, and it can be very intense, and it can have goals, and it allows them to own what they're doing in the gym without coaches kind of organizing everything. And I think that's a really good step for them. So they're going to be here most of the summer. They'll take classes, get ahead, which I think is fantastic. All of our kids graduate in 4 years, and that's the goal of all of our athletes, is to be able to do that. And I think summer classes helps them get some of those hard lab type classes, things that are really tough to schedule around in the fall, get those out of the way in the summer and kind of work towards their degree. They'll also help us work camps, which we have numerous camps coming up, starting this Friday with date night camps, where we have young kids coming in, and then we have all of our elite camp, which is fantastic. We get a lot of recruits into that. We have an all skills camp for a lot younger kids, and then we'll run. What we really like this summer is it's going to be very different because Assembly Hall obviously is under renovation, so we won't be able to use that for all of our camps that we usually do. So we're going to do a ton of satellite camps, and I think that's going to be great to get out in the state of Indiana. Almost all of them are in the state of Indiana in small towns, and get into their schools and really visit with them and help them make their programs better, and take our players around and help them run, and they're going to help run our camps. So I'm really looking forward to that in July. Our entire month of July is going to be satellite camps, so I think that's going to be really fun. So yeah, we have a busy summer as far as that goes. Megan has a very busy summer, and Coach K does too. They are both going on the Big Ten tour across Europe, and the goal of the tour is to win. And we talked as head coaches in the Big Ten, and it's going to be a great experience, number one, for our players and coaches and trainers and SIDs, all those people going. But the bottom line is we want to take over a Big Ten team that we feel like can win. And every school of the 14 schools will be represented, which I think is very important. And they're very, very good players. So I think it's just going to be an unbelievable experience. I'm glad that Coach K is one of the assistants. I think that's fantastic, and that Megan, after being injured most of the spring, is finally back to, I think she'll be full by the time she's able to go, and rehab is going fantastic. Her mentality is in the right place, and I think it's going to be a great experience for her, and one that can help our program when she gets back.